Yes, clever escape that from Mark. And, Ding can just go a couple of side cushions here up behind the green and put Mark Selby back in a similar position. It's going to be a long day, of course, for these two players. They finish this evening in what will be their final session. So they've just got to give it everything for this last 4 frames today and this afternoon. And jockeying for position, isn't it, really, at this stage? But if Mark Selby can get back to 8 each, he would be delighted. He doesn't want this cue ball to bounce, and it has just, and it's given Ding a half chance early in this 13th frame.
Can you close that door in that booth, please?
Just a little noise coming from off stage. Such a small arena. The Crucible, you are going to hear the slightest noise. Of course, these players need concentration. He's a lot better, Ding, at handling pressure than when he started. I remember his very first World Championship, not at the Crucible, in qualifying at Prestatyn in Pontins, and he was losing to someone, I think it was Barry Pinches. Came in at the last interval, I think he was 7-6 down, he just lost a close frame, just threw his cue on the floor. Didn't like it at all, but of course he was a teenager then, and teenagers tend to be quite surly.
Yes, he was a little bit impetuous back then. He was so keen to win, of course, to qualify for the Crucible. Doesn't have to do that these days, of course.
I think really talented teenagers, and Trump was a little like this maybe, don't quite understand how good the players are down the rankings. When you're used to winning as a junior, you think it's going to be easy, don't you? But there's some tough players in those qualifiers.
Oh, absolutely. We only have 96 players on the professional tour these days, and virtually every one of them are of a very, very high standard. It takes a couple of years, Dave, doesn't it, as a professional to understand just how difficult it is match to match, as you say. There are no easy games out there.
30.
Yes, and also the juniors tend to, from a young age, play attacking snooker. They don't really understand the all-round stuff so much, and they soon find out about it when you come up against some of the experienced old hands down at the qualifiers. That's when you learn about match snooker. I just think the qualifiers are a kind of snooker university. It's where you spend a couple of years just learning your craft and hope to get out of it, obviously qualify and get in the top 16 so you don't have to go to the qualifiers. That's what all these players have had to do. When Ding won the UK Championship for the first time in 2005, he started in the very first qualifying round.
Yes, the last couple of years, Mike, almost every time I've watched Ding play, he seems to just mature. Every tournament, it seems. Not only in his shot selection, but the mental aspect of the game. He knows just how tough it is out there, and he's now established as one of the very best players in the world. So he fully understands how tough it is. That was a little bit unfortunate. He didn't really have a nice pack to go into just then, so
28.
it's just going to be a safety. So it's been fits and starts really this morning from both players. No big scoring as yet. The balls have just gone a little bit scrappy so far.
Junhui, 28.
That's a clever shot. That was deliberate, playing in behind the yellow. And it looks like he's snookered Mark Selby on all the reds here. So as I said before the mid-session interval, he seems to be winning the safety battles. Does Junhui. And there you see, obscured by the yellow and blue on all the reds, and this has given Mark Selby plenty of problems. He would like to play the two cushion escape, just glance a red and come back up to the bulk area, but it's very difficult.
That bears out what you were saying, Alan. Ding is ahead on safety success and pot success, and they're high figures. 94% after 12 frames is good going.
Yes, it's a very high standard. It's not been massive scoring from either player as yet in this match, but the fact that they're both in the 90% range for pot success is an even higher standard, considering the scoring hasn't been that high in the match. What they have been doing is breaking down from time to time, but playing good safety when they have run out of position.
Foul, the miss.
It was a little bit of a practice shot first there for Mark Selby, and I don't blame him for that. He's just trying to get a sighter. Part of the problem for this shot is that he's not really playing it with a lot of side. This shot tends to be easier when you're playing it with lots of left-hand side, right-hand side rather, to spin round the two cushions, but he has to play it middle ball somewhat, which makes it tougher to judge off the cushion. Well, he can play this one, as you can see, with a little bit more side, which, as I say, helps the shot slightly. But once again, that was rather wide, and he wants this cue ball to stop.
Junhui 4.
I would expect him to get much closer this time to the red. The fact that he can, as I said, just play this with left-hand side, it just gives you a little bit more accuracy.
Foul and a miss.
Now, has the cue ball travelled far enough? It appears it has, for a free ball. And of course he is on the brown. Now, can he just drop this brown in to the centre and just finish low in the yellow? The blue side of the yellow, if you like, to have an easy brown to follow. Well, it appears not. If he, you see the angle on the brown, he's going to have to keep the cue ball behind the baulk line. I would expect him to maybe play for the yellow in the opposite middle. Yes, that's what he has done, and he's left a nice angle to go down for the reds.
1.
Now, if the red just to the left of the pink will go to right centre, he can play on that and the one right of picture down near the black, so he'll be playing for a choice of two. Well, even better, he was a little bit straighter in the yellow, so he could just drop on the red right of the pink, and this is developing into a good chance. The black is somewhat tied up just for the moment, so he'll be working off the blue and the pink.
Four.
Well, it was Ding's safety that got him in here, and it's worth remembering he's only just turned 24. He's still young. He's been around, seems like a long time because he was such a prodigy, but he's learnt this all-round game pretty quickly, really, and he's obviously going to be around for a long, long time yet at the top level. Definitely good enough to win the title, no question about that.
9.
Yes, he's coming back for the blue here because if he was to play the pink,
10.
it would tie that up as well. So that's good thinking. Just coming round to see if he can play for that red that's right of the black, I think, in such a way as to also leave a red to the right centre. Yes, that's exactly what he's done. So he's played for a choice of 2 reds. If he can play
50.
the one in the middle, he'll definitely play it. It's all about whether he can hold for pink or indeed go up for blue. He wants to clear that pink spot area as soon as possible. Yeah, just a little bit too much angle on it, so screwing off a couple of cushions here for pink and black.
60.
Well, that is poor. You just get into the cue ball far too much there. As the pink, of course. Now this will take a bit of potting. I just want to hold the cue ball somewhere around where the pink is now. That's a beautiful shot. Very tough, those shots. It was awkward bridging, but he's controlled it beautifully.
22.
And almost from nowhere, he's built up a 63-point lead, so he's almost at the point where Mark Selby would need snookers.
23.
I think in the end that interval helped Ding, didn't it? Just clear his head for 15 minutes after losing that long frame. If it had gone 8-4 up, he'd like to have stayed out there.
Yes, I think the intervals play a bigger part in these matches at the World Championship than a regular best of 9 event. Oh, that was beautifully played. That could have gone wrong quite easily, but he's landed
28.
perfectly on this red, which obviously goes past the black.
Well, the black and Mark Selby will need a snooker. Well, he spotted the red that we pointed to. Little cannon to that one. Well, just a question of whether he's on this one to the middle. Don't think he is. He could do with another red. 77 ahead, as you see, but still 75 on. It's only one snooker. Might be in yet.
Junhui, 36.
So he's 77-0 up, but not necessarily over the line yet.
Yes, but for me, the way he played that shot with just an element of safety in mind is a sign of the maturity that Ding now has in his game. Taking no chances. He knows that he can't afford to give Mark Selby a sniff, even when he's in a seemingly unassailable position in a frame. He's making Mark Selby think this afternoon. He's getting in. OK, he's not scored as heavy as he maybe normally would as yet, but he's playing hard match snooker.
Yes, it's good to see Ding really digging in. I well remember being in Beijing in 2005 when he won the China Open at the age of just 18. In fact, he turned 18 that week, and of course he was a wild card, so he actually went down in the rankings because he wasn't eligible for ranking points. Bearing in mind this was the season where the great Eddie Charlton died and went up in the rankings because they forgot to take him off the list and someone else retired. He actually went up a place in the world rankings after passing away. Strange game, snooker, sometimes.
Yes, I don't think that happens in many other sports, but...
I mean, I know Eddie was tough as old boots, but that is going some. It's just a mistake on the list. But yes, Ding won the China Open, but wasn't eligible for ranking points. But obviously a huge boost of confidence and proof of how good he was. He beat Stephen Hendry in the final. He beat Peter Ebden, Ken Doherty to get to the final at the age of just 18.
Yes, it was an amazing performance from Ding, and I remember that well also. I remember thinking when he got to the final, it was almost as if it was written in stone that he was going to win it. I think that's the feeling that most people had at the time. And as you say, he was just a very young lad, but he produced a quite amazing performance to win in front of his own people and his own fans.
The other thing I remember about the tournament was the press conferences. It wasn't just the press that turned up, it seemed to be the whole venue. The chef, everybody would come along with their autograph books and their cameras because they recognised that they had a new star of Chinese sport, and they've supported him, obviously, ever since. It's the only press conferences I've ever been to where the journalists at the end go up for autographs. Not often you experience that, Alan, in Britain, is it?
No, no, I've never seen that before. I don't think you'd see that at Wimbledon or some of the other major events, but anyway, our sport is fairly new in China, and as you say, it's wonderful to have Ding and a few others who are making their way in snooker these days. The game's become very popular out there, and largely because of this young lad at the table. Once again here, he's just putting a little bit of thought into this, and that's, you know, you can't emphasise enough the maturity he's showing. OK, that's a bad shot. He's left Mark Selby a red, but just the fact that he's pushed a red safe is very, very mature of Ding. That might seem a really clumsy shot, but in actual fact, it's fairly clever.
It's just catching the brown, wasn't it? That was the mistake there. Otherwise, it would have been a good shot. And of course, Selby needs high-value colours.
Yes, as I've said, Ding is doing his best to make Mark Selby's job as tough as possible today.
It's going to be a long haul for Selby if he does win this title. He's actually he bought a treadmill before the tournament to get in shape, although he seemed to be in shape to me beforehand. If he's got to lose weight, I think we're all in trouble.
Six.
Got to be one of the slimmest guys on the circuit.
Yes, he certainly is. He's tried to just up his fitness levels, obviously, before the championships. It is a long slog, if indeed you go all the way.
40. 50.
So the first part of the job for Mark Selby here is taking these last couple of reds, as Dave said, with high value colours, just to give him any chance whatsoever of gaining a snooker on the final red. But he's made 22. A good job of this so far. 55 behind, so if he can take 2 reds, 2 blacks, it'll be 1 4-point snooker to
23.
tie. Or to be able to tie, of course, with a red, black and colours clearance.
31.
Yes, Mark Selby has also matured a lot. We're talking about Ding. I remember, again, it was the China Open a few years before, the one Ding won, where he was only a teenager himself. He was so confused about what time of day it was. He was trying to get down the venue in the early hours. He thought 1:30 in the morning was 1:30 in the afternoon, even though it was pitch black outside. It didn't seem to make any difference. He was so jet-lagged.
Yes, it's strange. I remember that one well. Also, I was also in Shanghai that week, and well, there was a few goings on that week. I remember Graham Dott, in actual fact. I think it was the same week. It only took him about 40 hours to get to the venue from setting off back home in Scotland. And lo and behold, he got there. I think he was half an hour late or so for his match against Darren Morgan. Docked a couple of frames, went out, lost the match, and jumped in a flight back home. And needless to say, that got delayed as well. So that wasn't one of Graham's most enjoyable trips. Now then, this is interesting. I feel sure Mark Selby will take red-black here. And try and gain a snooker at a later stage in this frame. He's decided to go for it right away. I think he could have got the red further up the table, which would have suited him, but still it is a snooker, and Ding's got to hit this.
Yeah, the only problem Selby might have, he does need the black, doesn't he, from the red? That's the important thing here. So even if he gets a chance to pot the red, he's got to get on the black. And he obviously could have done there.
Yes, you're dead right, Dave. That was the reason I was a little bit surprised he didn't go red-black just then. He could have gone red, black, yellow, green, and that brown is in a good position to possibly get in behind the blue. Anyway, he's a man at the table.
Doesn't want to push the black safe.
Yes, that just makes it a little bit more difficult for Mark Selby, if indeed he was to get that 4-point penalty. Ding just pushing this red back up towards the yellow, just left of the yellow as we speak. Big target to get in behind. Now this is a decent chance for Ding to maybe get a snooker back on Mark Selby here. Just pushing the red up and down the table. Cue ball in behind pink and blue.
Mark Selby's 39 behind with a possible 35 on, so he needs 1 4-point snooker to tie.
It's noticeable, Mike, Dave, excuse me, isn't it, that when frames go scrappy, Mark just slows down that extra bit. He really takes his time to consider which shot to play. I don't blame him for that, because he's very tactically sound, and he wants to give himself every opportunity of winning this frame, even although he needs a snooker. He's that type of player. He doesn't play shots willy-nilly. Take that, even if it is a snooker though. It's obviously no problem for Ding to make contact with the red.
That was nearly a disaster. If that green had gone in, Selby could have tied the frame.
Yes, we always say the golden rule. When you have your opponent needing snookers, just don't cannon anything. Don't let that cue ball run around the table if you can help it. He got away with that one, in all honesty. Was a good effort from Mark Selby. He may indeed have got the snooker, but once again it shouldn't be a problem for Ding. Just off the back cushion. Just wants to be careful he doesn't send the red up towards the green. Yes. Once again he can just count himself a little bit fortunate there. I'm not sure he considered that when he was playing it. He obviously didn't, because he played that with enough pace to reach the green. Once again, if Ding can't hit the red direct, he won't have a problem. Just playing back cushion first. I don't think he'll be hitting it as hard this time. Well, he did, but you know, that was taking a little bit of a risk. And now will Mark Selby take the chance to pot this red, followed by the black. Just considering whether it's worth taking. As you said, Dave, earlier, I think if you get the chance to get the red black, you have to take it. Even if he just rolls the black in, he's going to have to get red black at some stage, it would seem. And this is an opportunity to do just that.
Well, if you're not going to do that, play a good snooker, which is what he's done. And you saw him work that out. He just had a look at where he wanted the red to bounce off that knuckle. He's got the white in behind the black as well.
Yes, that was a beautiful shot. And he's got the cue ball tight in behind the black, so it's going to be 2 or 3 cushions for Ding. Side cushion, just to rest on the red. in all honesty, I don't think, for me, this isn't a massive worry if Ding misses this red. OK, Mark Selby could tie, but he'll have a job in his hands getting a red-black from this last red. It wouldn't be difficult for Ding to leave the red in such a way where it would be easy for Mark Selby to get that red-black, but he obviously would rather hit this. He'll get close to it, we feel.
Foul. Mark Selby.
So Selby can now tie the frame, red, black and the colours. Can't be called a miss because snooker was needed.
It's a fairly big target for Mark Selby to hide behind. He's managed to just about snooker Ding behind the blue. Once again, shouldn't have any problems hitting it. He's just got to leave it in such a way where he doesn't leave Mark Selby a chance to pot the red and get on the black. That's why he's playing cushion first. There's no swerve in this occasion. He just wants to push the red back up the table. And that's okay. Well, you could say he was a little bit fortunate because he was close to the green. He would have been unlucky, in all honesty, to have knocked the green in there. But as it is, it looks like he's managed to snooker Mark Selby. So Ding all of a sudden has the upper hand. Can see through this. He would like to play up and down the table in behind the black, but I think the pink's just in the line, so he's decided to send the red round the table towards the black. Good effort.
Hard as nails, isn't he, Mark Selby? You probably remember John Parrott calling Chris Small the human limpet, and I think you could apply the same name to Selby. Just sticks to you.
Yes, he is one of the hardest players out on the main tour these days. Now then, obviously Ding was trying to knock that black safe, but he's not quite managed that. Now I feel sure Mark Selby has really got to take this red on. And it's all about getting position on the black. I feel sure he can miss the yellow and blue. Just a little bit of right hand side. Should bring the cue ball down somewhere near that right middle pocket. Well, he stunned it. That surprises me a little.
One.
But he's managed to give himself a shot at the black.
Has to pot this. If he doesn't pot it, he needs 2 snookers, so there's a lot of pressure on this. And he's missed it. And all that hard work, I think, has been in vain. Left the yellow as well. Chance at the yellow, green waiting, so
Don't do that.
Ding with a chance for 8-5 after all. Well, Selby got the snooker, but he did also have the opportunity earlier to pot red and black. It's just a question of weighing up the alternatives, but
5.
anyway, the frame is Ding's after all that. But at least he put Ding through a bit of anxiety. He made him win it, didn't he?
Yes, absolutely. It was a hard-fought frame in the end.
9.
Ding, of course, earlier was 77 in front with 75 left. But Mark Selby made a good fight of it.
14.
Well, you always know you've been in a match with Mark Selby. He had a chance there, but it was a tough black he was left with.
7 and frame.
And Ding, very relieved, I think, to win the frame. He's got his 3-frame advantage back. Another long frame, another tough, hard-fought frame. You'd expect nothing less from these two. Ding ahead, though, by 3 now. He leads 8 frames to 5.
Live your dreams. Experience the blue shimmer of the sea. Experience the life you dream about. Experience the sights, the sounds, the beauty and heritage, the well-known hospitality. Croatia, the Mediterranean as it once was.
Get the latest top mobile games of the season when you subscribe. Not only for the iPhone, check out the top 5. For Final Fantasy, send E1 to 33333.